Call the roll.
Bird.
Here.
McGinn.
Here.
Stein.
Here.
Mormon.
Here.
Whitlock.
Here.
Strecker. Here. Ray.
Here. Okay, number 2, approval of agenda.
Any changes, Your Honor?
No changes this evening.
Motion to approve.
Call the roll.
McGinn.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Whitlock.
Yes.
Strecker. Yes. Ray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, presentation of petitions and other communications. A, we have a presentation from Boone School District, Superintendent Julie Treppa.
Thank you. First, I'm just going to say it's a very informal presentation. I simply asked if I could come and introduce myself to everyone and kind of give you some background as to some of the opportunities I've had previously to work with other city councils and other organizations. So I am Julie Treppa. I'm married to Tim. We have twin daughters who are 24. One graduated from Iowa State, one Iowa. And the one that graduated from Iowa is down in St. Louis area, and the other is in the Red Wing, Minnesota area. So they aren't local, but I've seen more of them since I moved to Boone, and I've seen of them like the last 5 years. So I'm very excited about that. I did spend a lot of time in Central Iowa as a child because my grandparents were in McCallsburg and Clarion. So we spent a lot of time in Central Iowa for that. I started my educational career in the Quad Cities and spent 23 years there between the teaching and administrative duties. I was an elementary principal for 15 years in the Bettendorf School District. And some of you will know a superintendent that I worked with, Dr. Theron Schutte, in the time that I was there. And when I became a superintendent, I was in the West Monona and West Harrison School Districts. So I was a shared superintendent in charge of both of those districts. And that's where most of my experience working with city councils and other organizations came from. But one of the things that I wanted to share with all of you that I was very happy to learn coming to Boone was that there was an SRO in the schools. We had SROs in Bettendorf the entire time that I worked there. And I had been in communication with Ottawa Police Department, and we were working hard to try and get that to happen there when I became superintendent. So very happy that there's a history of it and that that is in the schools, and think that it benefits both the city and the school system. It's a win-win, and it's a win for our kids. And so anything that's good for kids is good for us. So just wanted to let you know that I do have that experience. Also, in Ottawa, we had some repetition of services that we had between the city, the school, and the hospital. We all had weight rooms or some kind of fitness room. And so we worked together to bring the Y into Ottawa, which is a lot smaller than Boone, about 3,000 people, and brought the Y classes into Boone because there was a gap for our students with youth sports. And so that's something that I worked with our hospital CEO and city council to make sure that we were able to provide that for our students. And then in West Harrison worked more closely with Mount Damon. That's where the school was located. There were 5 communities that made up the West Harrison School District, but worked with the city council there because we had a problem with our crosswalk where it was on the main road where all the truckers came through, and you really couldn't see the stop sign. And so the city and the school district worked together to get one of the nice flashing signs that, that alerted people to the fact that there was a crosswalk. So really do look forward to having a collaborative relationship with all of you, and wanted you all to know that if at any point you wanted to sit down and talk, I've had an opportunity to do that with a few of you, but always open to that open, transparent communication. I've shared with Bill that anything that's good for the city is going to be good for the school, and anything good for the school is going to be good for the city. So I see no reason why we wouldn't work together and make those things happen for our kids and for our community. And then I'm going to make one more plug, and then I'll be quiet. The other plug that I have is something that we're trying to work through right now is our portrait of graduate. And what that really is a community-driven vision for the school system. what competencies do we feel our students need to be college and career ready when they leave our system? And so I'm working with different groups right now, but I'm looking for volunteers for our design team. So if you have an interest in having some input into what we will highlight and focus on as far as competencies that our students need to be successful post-secondary, please email me or shoot me a message or call me to let me know that you're interested in that. That's something that really needs to be community driven more than school driven. So I'm looking for willing volunteers. I won't twist any arms if I get those, otherwise I will be calling you. So otherwise I'll take any questions that you might have, or otherwise I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone so that as we move forward with a variety of topics in Boone, you had a base to put with the name, or at least eyes. So I'm going to tell all of you. Poor Terry, I'm like, I don't remember meeting. Terry and I talked. For how long did we talk? Didn't recognize him with. So I might have to ask again, but.
Any questions? Comments? I have to tell you, I'm glad you're very supportive of the SRO. I fought tirelessly for that early on, and then it went away. Now it's back. Very pleased with that. So
Ethan's been doing a great job building those relationships with kids, and that's really the key to the SRO position, is that relationship building. And we can never have too many adults that kids can lean on.
Yeah.
So definitely a firm supporter of that, and again, welcome any suggestions and input that you have for me. I appreciate it.
other questions or comments?
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up, public hearing to consider setting a max levy for fiscal year 2022 budget. Any written comments?
No.
Any public comments? Not, this public hearing is closed. C, 2838, resolution approving fiscal year 2022 maximum property tax dollars.
Second.
Call the roll.
Stein,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla,
Yes.
Sucker, yes, Ray, Bird,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Okay, D, public hearing to consider the fiscal year 2022 capital improvement plan, CIP. Any written comments?
No.
Any public comments? If not, this public hearing is closed. E, public hearing to consider the voluntary annexation of property located at the east 26 and 84,000 acres of the southeast quarter as described below in 3E. Motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla,
Yes.
Sucker, yes, Ray,
Okay, number 4, report of standing, excuse me. Sorry. Any written comments on the public hearing?
No.
Any public comments? Public hearing is closed. Is that good? No, I my fault. Number 4, report of standing committees, A, policy administration, BJ,
No report.
B, public safety, Stephen.
I don't think I have the time. I did not have any.
Staff will just let everybody know if we don't have one, if there's any, we won't have one on the 24th.
If something comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay, utility committee, Stephen.
No report.
Economic development committee, Greg.
Just one thing, we had an earlier meeting that almost ran up to 6. Apologize for that. We're still working with iHomes on redoing the agreement and trying to, we're gonna up some penalties and some change some language, and we'll bring it back to council in March. That's it, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, department reports, building official, Ed is not with us this evening, Dave Aids is filling in. Dave?
Yes. February 8th, planning and zoning met, and Midwest Dental submitted a site plan for a 15 stall parking lot, or The parking lot be placed directly east of the Midwest Dental Building, be in the 1,000 block of Southeast Marshall on the south side of the roadway. That property is on the city right of way. The city attorney is currently working on an easement agreement with Midwest Dental for use of that piece of property. Staff determined that no new stormwater detention is needed for that site. And both planning and zoning and staff has recommended approval for this.
So this is something that originated back in October by Midwest Dental asking for more parking out of their lot. There are 15 spaces. The agreement that Jim is going to put together, we'll bring forward at a later time, is to allow them to have use of 7 of those 15 spaces, not the handicap one. And they will pay for it to put up signs for the lot. It'll be Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. is when they'll use it. They'll be responsible for the snow removal in the lot each year. We will be responsible for light maintenance after it's built, and then we accept it because it is a city lot. So normally when there are residents that reserve lots in our parking lots, there's a $20 per month fee. In the agreement, we're going to propose that be waived for 10 years because they're paying to put the lot in. So all the expense will be on them. After 10 years, then it can be reexamined and they can start paying rent for those spaces after that. So that's just a little bit of what the agreement's going to look like. Stephen, anything for you, sir? Thank you.
Finance Officer Andrea.
I have a 2016 sewer revenue bond that is sellable or refinanceable. The current rate is 2.25%. Talking with our financial advisors, we believe we can get a rate of about 1.7%. With that, the cost to reissue this bond is about $143,000. With the savings of the interest and even including the reissuance, we're still looking at a savings of about $268,000. That's over 8 years with the current maturity, which is approximately $30,000 per year. We would also like to shorten this by just 1 year because the last year of this current bond is only $350,000. So that's half of what our month or our yearly payments are for the rest of the bond. So it really doesn't make sense to extend it that 1 extra year of the $350,000 when we have the funds to pay it ahead of time. The other thing that with sewer revenue bonds, typically you have to set 10% of the bond aside where you can't use that money. So it'd be about $580,000 that we would need to set aside in a CD. We already have that money set aside. There is an option, however, to buy a surety policy, and that would cost us approximately $24,000 upfront, on top of the $143,000 that we've already cost to reissue. My suggestion is to forgo that and just keep that $580,000 in a CD since we're not using it. It's part of our cash reserve anyhow. As we pay off that bond, that $580,000 can be reduced. So if another project comes up where we need to go out and bond or we need those funds, we can get into some of that money, or we can use some of that money to reissue a new bond. So the question to you guys is not need a vote, but if there's any apprehension or any thoughts on what that we should not renew this, then I guess I'd love to know that. Otherwise, I'll proceed with going through the paperwork.
So
So we can wait it out, like a no-brainer. That's fine.
All right, thank you. City Attorney Jim.
No report.
Director of Public Works John Rouse.
Yes, Your Honor, a couple things. Andrea Friday received an email about our revenue. As you guys recall, in November, with this COVID thing happened, we cut some things because we didn't know our revenues that were coming in. As of right now, we're $14,000 short of last year's revenue, so we're sort of, it's not as much as we thought, but we're holding back on some purchases just to make sure we're covered, so just an FYI. Plus, we also got an email from the DOT about COVID relief funds. We are in the line to get like $120,000 in COVID relief from the state.
That's not guaranteed yet. They
Yeah.
have three options. One of the options would allow us to get $120,000 to help with our COVID.
Just an FYI, that's, the other thing is it's cold out, we got water mains breaking, we're moving snow, that kind of stuff, it's warm. And, we're sort of on the edge on salt right now, so we've got to sort of pick and choose what we're doing, but, we're okay, but it's getting close. Thank you.
Thank you. City Engineer Dan, your report. Okay. Public Safety Chief Adams.
Yes, Your Honor. As everybody is well aware, probably through social media and whatever, unfortunately, last Sunday, we had a fire downtown, which resulted in a fire death. We're still working through the State Fire Marshal's office, the medical examiner's office, the police department, those kind of things to work to determine a cause. Once that is determined, if it is determined, because there was significant damage to the area, we will let that be known. There is a pretty good chance that may never be known exactly what's caused that fire. And also a big shout out to the PD, to Public Works, to the public, to Bill with coming up here to let people in. When it's -10 and you have to try to shelter people that are fleeing from a burning building, it's a pretty tough situation. So I appreciate all the help and support. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys did a great job. Chief Weevil.
No report, Your Honor.
City Administrator Bill.
I do, and I apologize for this. If we could go back to 5A under building official, if I could get a motion to approve that site plan for Midwest Dental parking lot, subject to the agreement written up by the city attorney.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla,
Yes.
Stecker. Yes. Gray.
Yep.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Okay, number 6, consent agenda. Are there any items under the consent agenda that you'd like to remove and discuss separately? And if not, I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second. Call the roll.
Pickla,
Yes.
Stecker. Yes. Gray.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Okay, number 7, ordinances. A, first reading 2266, ordinance amending chapter 69, section 69, 16(3)(I) to change the parking stalls in lot number 11. Call the roll.
Stecker. Yes. Gray. Bird.
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Pickla.
Yes.
Okay, number 8, I have no comments. Stevie, number 9, any council member comments?
I do, Joe.
Yeah.
Just, everybody knows, first time in school history at DMAC, all 7 of our teams that are playing are ranked national in top 25 at the same time.
Nice.
And if anybody wants to come check out the facility, let me know, shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to walk some people through it and see it. Hopefully, we get everybody to come out at the same time at some point. Just let me know.
Any other council comments? Any public comments for items not on the agenda? This meeting is adjourned.